folks, how's it going? I just want to talk to you a little bit about fear and how they love to keep us in fear, and that is their goal, to keep us in fear. I, for one, won't do it, and I've rejected all their lies and things that they've been telling us about this so-called COVID, whatever. I know it is real, but I know it's also no worse than the regular common cold. But they have to keep us in fear in order to control us, in order to keep our vibration down, because that's just what they do. So I want to read you a couple inserts from The Power of Now in Chapter 10, talking about surrendering to what is and how to get over your fear and not accept it as they throw it in your face every day. Because to keep your vibration down is what they want to do, when right now human beings are evolving. This is our time to evolve to a higher level, to a 5D, fifth dimension, if you will. We're in the third dimension as slaves, and yes, that's what we are. We truly are. We are slaves to whatever they want to tell us to do. But it's time for us to stand up, and it's time for us to do it now. So let me start with surrender in personal relationships. Question: what about people who want to use me, manipulate, or control me? Am I to surrender to them? Answer: they are cut off from being, so they unconsciously attempt to get energy and power from you. It is true that only an unconscious person will try to use or manipulate others, but it is equally true that only an unconscious person can be used and manipulated. If you resist or fight unconscious behavior in others, you become unconscious yourself. But surrender doesn't mean that you allow yourself to be used by unconscious people. Not at all. It is perfectly possible to say no firmly and clearly to a person, or to walk away from a situation and be in a state of complete inner non-resistance at the same time. When you say no to a person or a situation, let it come not from reaction, but from insight, from a clear realization of what is right or not right for you at the moment. Let it be a non-reactive no, a high-quality no, a no that is free of all negativity and creates no further suffering. Excuse me. Question: I am in a situation at work that is unpleasant. I have tried to surrender to it, but I find it impossible. A lot of resistance keeps coming up. Answer: if you cannot surrender, take action immediately. Speak up or do something to bring about change in the situation, or remove yourself from it. Take responsibility for your life. Do not pollute your beautiful, radiant inner being, nor the earth, with negativity. Do not give unhappiness in any form whatsoever a dwelling place inside you. If you cannot take action, for example, if you are in prison, then you have two choices left: resistance or surrender, bondage or inner freedom from external conditions, suffering or inner peace. Hang on 1 second, please. Question: what about non-resistance in the face of violence, aggression, and the like? Answer: non-resistance doesn't necessarily mean doing nothing. All it means is that any doing becomes non-reactive. Remember the deep wisdom underlying the practice of Eastern martial arts. Don't resist the opponent's force. Yield to overcome. Having said that, doing nothing when you are in a state of intense presence is a very powerful transformer and healer of situations and people. In Taoism, there is a term called yu wei, which is usually translated as actionless activity, or sitting quietly doing nothing. In ancient China, this was regarded as one of the highest achievements or virtues. Excuse me. It is radically different from inactivity in the ordinary state of consciousness, or rather unconsciousness, which stems from fear, inertia, or indecision. The real doing nothing implies inner non-resistance and intense alertness. On the other hand, if action is required, you will no longer react from your conditioned mind, but you will respond to the situation out of your conscious presence. In that state, your mind is free of concepts, including the concept of nonviolence. So who can predict what you will do? The ego believes that in your resistance lies your strength, whereas the truth, resistance cuts you off from being the only place of true power. Resistance is weakness, and fear masking as strength. What the ego sees as weakness is your being in its purity, innocence, and power. What it sees as strength is weakness. So the ego exists in a continuous resistant mode and plays counterfeit roles to cover up your weakness, which is truth in your power. Until there is surrender, unconscious role-playing constitutes a large number of human interaction. In surrender, you no longer need ego defenses and false masks. You become very simple, very real. That's dangerous, says the ego. You'll get hurt. You'll become vulnerable. What the ego doesn't know, of course, is that only through letting go of resistance, through becoming vulnerable, can you discover your true and essential vulnerability. Very, very cool. And very true. All right, let me do another one quickly here. Question. Hang on 1 second. I'm sorry. Gotta find the page. Okay, I found it. Transforming suffering into peace. I read about a Stoic philosopher in ancient Greece who, when he was told that his son had died in an accident, replied, "I knew he was not immortal." Is that surrender? If it is, I don't want it. There are some situations in which surrender seems unnatural and inhuman. Answer. Being cut off from your feelings is not surrender. But we don't know what his inner state was when he said those words. In certain extreme situations, it may be impossible for you to accept the now, but you always get a second chance at surrender. Your first chance is to surrender each moment to reality of the moment, knowing that what is cannot be undone, because it already is. You say yes to what is or accept what isn't. Then you do what you have to do, whatever the situation requires. If you abide in this state of acceptance, you create no more negativity, no more suffering, no more unhappiness. When you live in a state of non-resistance, a state of grace and lightness, free of struggle. I'm sorry, let me read it again. I apologize. You then live in a state of non-resistance, a state of grace and lightness, free of struggle. Whenever you are unable to do that, whenever you miss that chance, either because you're not generating enough conscious presence to prevent some habitual or an unconscious resistant pattern from arising, or because the condition is so extreme as to be absolutely unacceptable to you, then you are creating some form of pain, some form of suffering. It may look as if the situation is creating the suffering, but ultimately, this is not so. Your resistance is. Now here is your second chance at surrender. If you cannot accept what is outside, then accept what is inside. If you cannot accept the external condition, accept the internal condition. This means do not resist the pain. Allow it to be there. Surrender to the grief, despair, fear, loneliness, or whatever form of suffering takes. Witness it without labeling it mentally. Embrace it. Then see how the miracle of surrender transmutes deep suffering into deep peace. This is your crucifixion. Let it become your resurrection and ascension. Question. I do not see how one can surrender to suffering. As as you yourself pointed out, suffering is non-surrender. How could you surrender to non-surrender? Answer. Forget about surrender for a moment. When your pain is deep, all talk of surrender will probably seem futile and meaningless anyway. When your pain is deep, you will likely have strong urge to escape from it rather than surrender to it. You don't want to feel what you feel. What could be more normal? But there is no escape, no way out. There are many pseudo-escapes: work, drink, drugs, anger, projection, suppression, and so on. But they don't free you from the pain. Surrendering does not diminish the intensity when you make it unconscious. When you deny emotional pain, everything you do or think, as well as your relationships, become contaminated with it. You broadcast it, so to speak, as the energy you emanate, and others will pick up on it subliminally. If they are unconscious, they may even feel compelled to attack you or hurt you in some way, or you may hurt them in an unconscious projection of your pain. You attract and manifest whatever corresponds to your inner state. When there is no way out, there is still always a way through, so don't turn away from the pain. Face it, feel it fully, feel it. Don't think about it. Express it if necessary, but don't create a script in your mind around it. Give all your attention to the feeling, not to the person, event, or situation that seems to have caused it. Don't let the mind use the pain to create a victim identity for yourself out of it. Feeling sorry for yourself and telling others your story will keep you stuck in suffering. Since it is impossible to get away from the feeling, the only possibility of change is to move into it. Otherwise, nothing will shift. So give your complete attention to what you feel and refrain from mentally labeling it. As you go into the feeling, be intensely alert. At first, it may seem like a dark and terrifying place, and when the urge to turn away from it comes, observe it, but don't act on it. Keep putting your attention on the pain. Keep feeling the grief, the fear, the dread, the loneliness, whatever it is. Stay alert, stay present with your whole being, with every cell of your body. As you do so, you are bringing the light into the darkness. This is the flame of your consciousness. At this stage, you don't need to be concerned with surrender anymore. It has happened already. How? Full attention is full acceptance. Full attention is full acceptance is surrender. By giving full attention, you use the power of the now, which is the power of your presence. No hidden pocket of resistance can survive in it. Presence removes time. Without time, no suffering, no negativity can survive. The acceptance of suffering is a journey into death, facing deep pain, allowing it to be, taking your attention into it, as to enter death consciously. When you have died this death, you realize that there is no death, and there is nothing to fear. Only the ego dies. Imagine a ray of sunlight that has forgotten that it is an inseparable part of the sun, and deludes itself into believing it has to fight for survival and cling to an identity other than the sun. Would the death of this delusion not be incredibly liberating? Do you want an easy death? Would you rather die without pain, without agony? Then die to the present moment, and let the light of your presence shine away the heavy, time-bound self you thought of as you. Well, that's really good stuff from The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle in Chapter 10. I know you're all realizing that we are in one of the craziest times that we've ever been in our lives, and we all chose to be here for that reason. So I'm going to ask you as collective souls, as collective souls, to please raise your consciousness. to please stay present, to let your ego die away, because nobody needs an ego, to accept what is because it already is, and to move into a higher place. I know this sounds kind of ridiculous, but I've been saying this all along with the power of now. You just have to truly stay present. And I've explained before that usually when you take a deep breath or just breathe in general, you're in the present moment where pain, suffering, depression, anxiety, they can't survive. They can't. It's just how it is. So take a deep breath and breathe. Take another deep breath in through your mouth, in through your nose and out through your mouth, and breathe and just relax. Situations nowadays are outrageous. I mean, the lying that goes on, the manipulation that goes on, the fear that they constantly try to keep us in. Now, whole countries shutting down because of this new crazy strain of whatever this fake pandemic is, in my opinion. So don't give into it. Don't even spread it. Don't talk about it with anybody, because that'll just bring it into your life, your situation. The best thing to do is ignore any sort of talk of any sort of COVID nonsense. Please. I know, they say there's a 99.99% of survival with this COVID thing, and more people die of the regular flu. So don't let them scare you every day with more and more, lockdowns and wear your mask, and if you don't, you're a terrible person, and etc., etc. Hopefully a lot of you are realizing it's just control. That's all they want. And they fear humans waking up. They fear, not us. They fear people awakening. And this is the time of awakening. This is what we are here to do. We are here to raise the vibration on this planet so that we can ascend to a better place. And I don't mean leave the planet. I just mean live in peace. Nasara is coming. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to help all of us. And we will have peace in the world. What a thought, What an amazing thought. Because ever since I've been here, there's been wars going on, and I'm sure a lot of you. But to think that we can have a peaceful world, that people won't be hungry, that people won't be living on the streets. Nasara is coming, and we can even call it Trumpsara, because he's going to be our president, and he will help, and he has, and that is the whole plan. This is not just a fly-by-night situation. This has been planned from A to Z. So hold tight and hold strong and stay present. When you see somebody coming up to you and wanting to start something or saying, how dare you not wear a mask or something like that, just walk away. Don't even engage. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time. And I'm sure many of you have been able to feel when somebody, shall I say, dark comes into your line, your aura, your surroundings. You can feel it. And you just know something is off about that person. And then you can feel the person that's really good that comes in as well. So gravitate to them and stay away from the negativity. It will try to bring you down every single time. But again, just breathing, keeping quiet, surrendering to whatever is, and just taking care of the situation is all that is needed. When you learn to stay present, as I've said in many videos, it's a very peaceful place. I have really learned about this for many, 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 many years now. And it is a wonderful way to live. So with that said, I'm going to end this one, and I'm going to do another video, and I'm going to have to break up a couple names in it so that it doesn't get flagged or pulled. And I'm going to be talking about the stalactic Deteration. I hope you can figure out what I'm trying to say there, because I found out all sorts of incredible information about that and how real it truly is. And again, good things are coming, folks. As President Trump says, the best is yet to come. Well, believe it, the best is yet to come. And we can hold out, we can stay together, we can do as we please without being controlled by some outward forces that are constantly keeping us down. So be yourself, have fun every day, lose that ego. The ego cannot exist in the present moment. It just can't. So whenever you find yourself getting tense, feeling sick, anything like that, ignore it. Stay present. Breathe. Bring yourself into the moment. Breathe. Don't give any energy to negativity, whether it be illness, whether it be the situation, whether somebody just walked in the room that you can't stand. Don't give any energy to any of it. Just breathe and stay present, because your inner peace is what's important now. Your higher consciousness is what is important now. The Great Awakening is here. It's happening. And people are truly waking up every day. I hope this helps you a little bit. Don't fear. Please, just don't be afraid of things that they say. It's what they want. And that will keep your vibration low, so that you won't be able to grow, so that you won't be able to evolve. That's what they want. If so many of us do evolve, then they can't stop it. And you know what? They can't stop it anyway. There are, I believe, close to enough people that are awake where we can move forward to a much better planet, much better life situation. So I'm going to do this other video, and I hope you'll take a listen, and I hope you'll sub me, and I hope you'll pass it around, because I would really like to get some more subs. That'd be kind of fun. And I hope you all have the merriest of Christmases ever. Be with your loved ones. Hug them. Appreciate them. Let them know that you're there. Even if you're far away, try to do some sort of video thing. That's what I'm going to do with my kids and grandkids, I hope. You know, just to say hi and let them all know that I love them. It's a good thing that we're coming together. And it's a wonderful thing that people are waking up. So, breathe, stay present, accept what is, and all will be fine. Okay? All right. So I will leave it as I most often do. Stay present and stay safe. Later.